Hello everybody, welcome back to my stream. Let's continue on. I know I'm late. I'm trying to be on time, but today was a bit of a, I had a bit of a conflict, so that's why I'm a little behind. But let's get to work on this that we were working on. I did some work on this a little bit offline. Truth is every chance that I get, I love to code, so every chance I get, I start just chipping away at whatever applications I'm working on. And so sometimes I'll just be watching TV and I'm not really too much into whatever it is that's on TV. I just leave it on for background noise and I get to coding. And so recently I've been watching a show called Invasion on Apple TV. It's kind of getting old. I feel like it's one of those typical shows where it starts with a problem gets worse, but then by the end of the season it works out, but somehow it gets worse again. And it just feels a little, obviously it's unrealistic with, or maybe, I don't know, one never knows, but nonetheless, it comes off as really unrealistic when it seems like there's just a constant evolution of the invaders. In this case, they're alien invaders from what it looks like. And anyway, I just thought it was an interesting show, so I've been watching that. Let's go over some of the changes that have been happening. What's going on here? I guess I'll just close this. So anyway, if you're watching anything interesting, another thing that I watched recently was the show C. I know it's an older show. It's with Jason Momoa, and it's based on a scenario where all humans have lost sight. Whatever it may have been, from what it looks like, it was like an apocalypse of some kind that happened. There's a lot of destruction in a lot of the scenes that you see, but nonetheless, people are blind. And now the whole concept of things is that anybody that can see is considered a witch, because people are getting their sight back through, new people being born. They're getting their sight, and they're viewed as witches, which is interesting to me because I went to Mexico. Maybe like, gosh, was it almost it's been a little bit, but anyway, I went to the Mayan ruins, or not the Mayan ruins, but was it the Mayan ruins? No, it wasn't the Mayan ruins, because the Mayan ruins are farther south. It was in Mexico, the capital city, in the city called Teotihuacan or something like that. It's a city with pyramids, but nevertheless, it was talking about how things have evolved, how things have changed. Because back before, the indigenous people lived, it was like a lot of different cultures, a lot of different things that you wouldn't think would have been based on what you see today, and how as a society we have changed so many things. But this should start up and we can get to seeing what changes have occurred and see what we can do today. Probably gonna be a short one. I do have quite a busy day today. So probably not gonna be as long as I would like to be streaming today. So reports, if we go to reports, I've changed it to where now it shouldn't be showing Saturday and Sunday. Oh, if you have Saturday and Sunday set up, it would show it. But if you don't, you can see that it's gone now because I set up Saturday and Sunday to be non-working days. Obviously, I do work on stuff on the weekend. So ideally, I do want to keep Saturday and Sunday. Even though this Saturday and Sunday, this was a very busy weekend. Not much like the last couple of weekends. So I didn't get much in terms of coding done. But yeah, so another thing that I fixed was the cards. I adjusted the cards. I don't know if you remember, but on stream I had set up the cards to be on the right hand side of the report. Now I'm placing them at the top. Same thing for tasks. I went ahead and adjusted my reports under tasks. The same thing for sessions. You know, obviously this is very preliminary because I don't in development I don't tend to use it every day, right? Most of the time I do development either offline while I'm not streaming, and I'm, like I said, I'm watching TV, watching a show or what have you, and perhaps not paying enough attention sometimes. So yeah, I've been doing some changes here. Give me 1 second. Let me reply to a message here. Oh, I can't. Never mind. Let's work on a couple things and then we'll wrap it up for today, and then go from there. I wanted to work on a summarize my week feature. Something that you can take and just get a general summary of your work week. Like say if you, like I was saying, if you have a scenario where you're working somewhere and you have to every week or every month generate a report, you could do that through this. So I'm just trying to debate or think of what would be a good placement for that. Should it be maybe like overlaid on top of maybe right here in the bottom right hand corner of completed tasks, have like a button that's just like floating above everything, and it says like summarize or generate summary, and then you can give the summary like a start date and an end date, and then based on those dates it takes a it queries the database, gets all of the tasks or between those dates that were completed, and then gives you a general summary of all of the tasks that you've been working on for that week. Or perhaps we could move the legend some, because right now we have the legend on the top, and we have today's progress, which you can expand and collapse, and then I mean technically it could also be here in the all tasks, where you can say summary, like, you know, generate a summary. I'm trying to think of where would be a good placement for something like that. And I just can't think of where. Unless I add an icon here next to the alarm bell. Um, that's the only thing I can think of. What would it look like if I add here to the legend container, if I add another, like here in the legend, the actual values, if I divide this div and split it in half and then put a button, let's go look and see what that would look like. So that would be under the legend, right? Legend. Let's go look at one, see what the component is called. So category legend. So in the category legend, let's close all these. Let's actually get a fresh start since we're another stream day, fresh start on what we're working on. So category legend, we have our legend, and then we have our category titles in this text inside of this stack. So I'm assuming that we could technically add a div here and add a button that says summarize. Let me look at enter log point. Yeah, so we can add a button with an icon, and the button is going to just say summarize my weekly tasks. That might be too long, but we'll try it. And then here, let's add an icon. I don't know that there's an icon called summarize. Icon name. Is there an icon called tag? Let's see what that looks like. So we go to styles, and then we go to buttons. Iconography, not buttons, but icons. And this thing is saying that there's a tag. Oh, there is a tag. What about summary? No. Entitlement policy. I'm trying to think of what would be a good icon to kind of imply that we're summarizing, we're rolling everything up. Maybe this preview. Let's try that. If we go back, actually, while I'm at it, we're adding the summarize my week. Oh boy, that does not look right. Let's go back. Let's duplicate this. You can see that it looks really bad. It's got a button next to every category. So obviously I put this in the map, which is not ideal, obviously. So this should actually be right here. Actually, no. It should be after. Right here. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. Summarize my weekly tasks. I don't like that long name for that, obviously. I don't know. I'm not sold on that. Or maybe we can just do what's called a task summary. So task. summary. And on the button, we can add a title that says, and do we have a category legend? Yes, we do. Good. All right. So in here, we basically want to copy the button, summary button. So for this, task summary. And then when you click on that, what we want to be able to do is we want you to be able to select a date range. And based on that date range, allow us to generate a summary of the tasks that you worked on, you know, whether it be a week, a month, what have you. The tool will automatically generate somewhat of a report that just gets the listing of all of the tasks that you worked on. I think that would be the way to go. It would work similar to how when you click on add a task, how this dialog appears. I'm also thinking that maybe that's not the greatest of ideas. Maybe we need to put that somewhere else. I think that the Kanban is more dedicated for you to manage your tasks, move things around. I'm thinking that maybe summary tasks should be under all tasks. And leave the legend to be more clean. So what we would do is get rid of this div. Actually, just discard the changes for these two. Yeah, so that's clean. I mean, we might even be able to put it next to the enter log point in the progress bar. Decisions. This is probably the hardest part sometimes to do these things. Hmm. I think that the best option is going to be here. And like instead of having a dialogue, it should be like a tab. Actually, it might be better to do it as a in the reports. Actually, that's a better idea because here you can say the last 30 days or the last 7 days, but then we're tied to the metric based on what the selection is here. Because you would be tied to only having the ability to generate a report by this week, the last 7 days, or the last 30 days. I'm so sorry, it's been a long time. What to do? Unless we allow a custom drop down and then the custom generates like 2 input fields for dates. That allows you to select the start and end date. That could be an option, right? But I definitely think it needs to be in reports. So here in reports, in the header row is where the button needs to be. Let's go to reports. And we might as well open the reports module. Put it here to the side. And here is going to be the summarize button. And we're going to bring in this. Okay. And then in the header row, we will add our button. Why is it giving? Oh, it's because I didn't call it this, did I? We're bringing in icon. Let me fix this. Import. Give it item. Okay. I always like to keep these things clean. Import. Drop down. Give it a drop down here. I heard a ring, like I had a chat. Or did somebody follow me? Well, that was definitely the sound of a chat. I'm sorry if you're sending me a message. I'm not able to see it. I don't know what's going on. Well, my sincere apologies for that. All right, so drop down. This is there. Now I need to import. There. And then my drop down option could be here. And then import this from icon. All right, as for reports, we have task summary. On header row, you can actually flip things like that. So row reverse, so we don't have to change the DOM. Yeah, let's do it that way. So on header row. Sorry about that, I had to go take care of something real quick. All right, so where were we? Head row right here. So was it flex direction row reverse? There we go. Now this is going to be what summarizes our tasks based on the overview, based on the information that we have that's showing. I'm actually debating whether it should just be under tasks rather than under overview, but not under sessions. I think the better option is going to be to put it only under overview and tasks, but not sessions. If I click on sessions, task summary should not be visible. So let's adjust that. I'm probably gonna have to cut it off right after this. I know I haven't worked on the actual functionality, but I'll have to work on that the next time. Well, no, I have to go. I have to go in a little bit. Okay, so we were saying that this should only be visible, this button, it should only be visible if How is it determining what pivot item is active? It's got to be doing that because I see the underline. Let's go look at pivot. I believe pivot has a on click on selector, I think. Selected key. And so based on the selected key, right here, we do have selected key here. So date range is a selected key. So date range could equal this. So it should only appear. Wait, no. Never mind. Oh. Selected key is changing the range, but it's not changing the tabs. How can I target the active pivot item? Let's look at this component. Header text tasks. Hmm. Let's take a look and see what we can set as far as a on click for the pivot item. Let's put this on click. Let's use the event. And let's put a style, a state on selected tab, and it's going to be by default overview. What is this? It looks like we don't need to use the on click as a generic on link click method for the entire pivot array. Okay. So now we go to reports. We look at the pivot, or actually the report component here. We should have a state. It has a state overview, state tasks, but now it's not switching. What did we do? Was this here before? No, it was just this. So the problem that we're having is because each individual tab needs to have selected key. Wait, it does have selected tab. Let me get rid of this. And then here, I want to put if selected tab is equal to overview. Or then I want to show, make it and I want to show this div. Let's try it this way. Okay. Why is it not reading? Whoops. Overview. What did I put here? It equals to overview. Or what is this? What did this get put in here? Why is it that when I put overview, it doesn't show up? Let me reverse this and say tasks, overview. That is so interesting. My understanding is, why is it putting a? I don't understand why putting a parenthesis there. See, it's putting a parenthesis in there. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now overview is working, but tasks is not. I see a problem though. It's working, but I see a problem. The state is causing a re-render. I can tell because when we go to the report here, let me show you what I see. When I go to network and I throttle it, let's throttle it to 3G and you'll see what I'm talking about. So right now it loads. the moment, let me just put no throttling. When I click on tasks, everything's going to disappear and it's going to reappear. Oh no. Then why am I seeing that glitch? I'm seeing a glitch effect. Maybe it's just me, but I thought I saw a glitch occurring. Yeah, you kind of like, I think it's a symptom of the fact that this collapses. And then it shows that. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. I have a couple of things I have to take care of, but I'll continue to work on it and see how we can fix it. Obviously, we need to do some padding fixes. You can see that these are like literally almost touching up there. This one is actually overlaying over the border, so we'll work on that. But I'll catch you next time. Sorry, it's got to be short, but I was late and I had other things that happened. But we'll work on it again soon. Catch you later. Peace.